She is here and we love her. Thank you for being a library champion. Let's see, who else do we have here? Rachel Lynch from the Sussex County Department of Libraries, and Kathy Graybeal, who is wonderful. Selbyville Town Council. I see Mayor Murray over there and Stacy Long, the town manager. If you're also from the town, I'm sorry I didn't see you, but thank you for being here and supporting this. Sussex County, Selbyville Public Library Board of Commissioners, for all the hard work, and anyone who has served on the board. I'm looking at some faces here. I know that there are some folks who have served on the board longer than others, but all of you have done so much work to get us to this point. Let's see, our Kay Wheatley, who wears all the hats in library land throughout the state. We thank you today, Kay. Friends of the Selbyville Public Library, hi, thank you for being supporters. Everyone needs good friends, and we are so glad we have them. The library founders from the Selbyville Community Club, they founded this library back in 1914, something like that. I don't know, shout out a number if you can correct me, but thank you for doing that and getting things started in Selbyville. Here we are, still here. My colleagues from all over the state, directors, library staff, everyone, I see you. I know how hard that we are working, particularly when it comes to building and running our libraries and serving our communities. I see the good work you do every day, and I just want to the staff of the Selbyville Library. Growth of the library. There is a very special person here. Her name is Lynn Massey. Late 90s and early aughts, and Ray Moore was the president of the Board of Commissioners. Who had his business here and his house over there. If he would be interested. Thank you so much, Dr. Asher and Paul. New library, but their gift will continue. This was my childhood library, and I grew up coming serve in this community.
Being introduced when you talk about friends. coming here this morning, but I knew if we had a call out, to use federal money, courtesy of our president and our congressional delegation, to really supercharge our library capital campaign here in our state. Yesterday, I went to visit 2 deployments of our National Guards. First at Moore's Children's Hospital outside of Wilmington, and secondly in a long-term care facility. And I was there to really thank them for the work that they've done over the last month, really, to help us with the really serious problem that we had with capacity at our hospitals being overrun by the holiday New Year's surge in COVID cases across our state. On January the 12th, we had 759 Delawareans hospitalized from Tidal Health over in Seaford to BB Bay Health all the way up to Christiana Care. Yesterday, there were 144.
Wow. Yeah.
You want to talk about making a governor happy? That is happiness. And I went to thank all those guardsmen and women, and the thing that struck me the most was that they're kids. I mean, I'm getting old. But, I mean, I'm talking about 22, 23, 24, 25, and their willingness to do what they did, to be deployed to our hospitals to provide support for the hospital personnel that were really under the gun. They really were the savior for all these facilities and for the rest of us, and we owe them an incredible debt of gratitude. We simply would not be where we are today, hopefully on this side of the pandemic, without our Delaware Army and Air National Guard. Everything we asked them to do, from testing to vaccinations to traffic, you name it, they did. The other thing that's been critical in our response to COVID was the resources we got from our federal government. Without those, we'd be in a way worse shape than we are today. First, the CARES Act funding that helped us respond, the advice and guidance that we got from the CDC and the White House Task Force under 2 presidents, to the resources that we're talking about and celebrating today. The purpose of these ARPA funds is to accelerate the rebound of our economy across our state. It's going to give us an incredible opportunity to fund projects like this in a way that'll be able to bring them to fruition way sooner than they otherwise would have been. And I'm glad Senator Hucker is here with us and is such a good supporter of libraries, because there's a state side of this, as all the friends of the library know. Right. The federal resources are going to help replace, if you will, the fundraising that otherwise would have been necessary by the local friends. I see Courtney Stewart back there shaking her head. I learned 2 things before I came today. One, that Courtney Stewart, who used to work in the budget office, now works for the Secretary of State, instrumental in libraries, is from Selbyville. And number 2, Governor Crawford, this used to be a governor's house. Obviously, when governors did better than when they do today, but this is a really special place. And today we're announcing using part of the ARPA funds was $112 million for a capital program for mostly community service organizations across our state. Right off the top, the legislation made eligible funding for libraries for obvious reasons, as community hubs, as hubs for information sharing about COVID. And so we're going to use $40 million of that money for projects from Selbyville to Georgetown to Rehoboth to Lewis to Harrington to Duck Creek to Newark to Wilmington. And the first one up, I understand, is Selbyville. And it's first up because it's ready to go. It's ready to go. And when you think about all these challenges, right, Kate?
That's right.
Ready to go. And there's a great relief off those people that we're going to have to do the fundraising for. Okay. So we owe an incredible debt of gratitude to our Army and Air National Guard. We owe an incredible debt of gratitude to all the hospitals and folks that have responded. We owe an incredible debt of gratitude to our congressional delegation for all the COVID, but this stuff in particular, because it's really going to give us a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to make investments that are important to our communities, to our children and our families. One of our highest priorities is to make sure every child, so I'm so glad I hear they did this for me. When I go to our schools, I love to repeat the cap. And one of our biggest priorities is to make sure that every third grader, every single third grader in our state can read at grade level when they get there, right? And libraries are an important part of all of that. It requires all the rest of us and parents as well in our schools who do a tremendous job. But this funding, this $40 million is going to make a difference. Thank you for the difference that all of you make in our libraries, not just today and going forward, but everything that you've done to bring us up to this day. And finally, a final thanks to our congressional delegation for their great work. I don't know whether I'm supposed to introduce Senator Carper, but I'm going to do it anyway. So I went into the front room. If you haven't been in the front room to look at these historic pictures of Governor Townsend with Senator Williams and Congressman and Senator Boggs, and former Senator or former Governor Carville, just incredible. You'll see somebody that looks a little bit like this guy 30-some years ago. In a great picture, I think maybe at Woodburn, probably before that. But Senator Carper has been a mentor of mine, a great leader for our state, somebody who's in Washington trying to get things done. Right, trying to strike the balance in the middle of a very heated political climate. He's a good friend of libraries. I think it was under his term as governor that we created the framework that drives fundraising and funding for capital programs. It's just a real privilege to introduce Senator Tom Carper.
Thank you, Governor Carney. Please remain standing. Please? I don't get this. You ever heard the term getting the band back together? A great thing to be here with our governor and Lisa and I. Like, we were a team, and you know, in a very real sense, we still are. Chris Kuhn can't be with us today. He is in Munich for a Munich security gathering, and given what's going on in the Ukraine and in the other parts of the world, it's an important place for him to be. He sends his best. Yesterday, earlier this week, I hosted a lunch in the Senate dining room. We just sort of like reopened for business, and hope those of you maybe even want to come down and bring some friends or family and visit our nation's capital. We're open for business again. I want you to come down and see your nation's capital. But I hosted about 8 or 9 members of my team who are fairly new. They've come in the last year. And what we have a tradition is people join my Senate team. The new people, I take them to lunch in the Senate dining room, which is a real special treat for them, and I think for me too. And we all gather around this table, at 10 or 11 of us. And what I did is I literally went around the table and I asked everybody to, just an icebreaker, they knew each other some, but not real well. But I asked her, tell us about your first car. And so people went around, they told really funny stories about their first car. And I asked people to tell us about like the first concert they went to, and people tell us about their first concert. It's interesting, people remember that stuff. And then I thought, sitting here today, I thought, I want to ask you just to think, not to tell us, but think about the first library you ever visited. Think about the first library you ever visited. Or maybe the first library that you took your son or daughter to, as they were just little kids and maybe not even in school yet, and took them to a library and introduced them to what a library is all about. I've been to libraries all over the world, And when I was a naval flight officer in the Vietnam War, got to go all over the world with the Navy. Almost every military base I ever went to, they have a library. And people say, why do you love the Navy? Why do you love the military so much? One of the things is because you're on a military base, they provide just about everything you need. They'll feed you, give you a place to sleep. A lot of them have a gym. They have doctors and nurses if you need those. And they have a library. I've been in more libraries, and when we're flying into our operations, I go to the library and read and just write letters and stuff like that. I have great memories from libraries. Do any of you have a great memory from a library as a kid growing up? Yeah. The first library I went to as a kid growing up, I was born in West Virginia, coal mining town. The first library we went to was not in a building. It was on wheels. It was on wheels. Anybody ever go to a library like that? Yeah, they had that. That was our library. The bookmobile, there you go. Bookmobile. We probably still have them. And that's a couple. That's good. You never have too many. But when our boys, Martha and I met kind of late in life, and we started having kids. We met in 35 and 37. She was 35, I was 37. A couple of years after that, we started having 2 boys. And I remember well being at the Woodburn, the governor's house, and we go there a lot on weekends. We lived in Wilmington, but a lot of weekends and summers we'd spend time at Woodburn. And about 2 blocks away was the Dover Library. And I just have great memories of taking our boys to the Dover Library. One of the things we want to make sure is that they had everything a kid could ask for: loving, caring parents, a chance for a good education, a library in their life early on, just a supportive community, and they turned out okay. They have turned out. We're just thrilled with our sons. Very proud of them. One of the things that Lisa and I and John, when he was our secretary, one of the things we focus on are strengthening families. That's what for 8 years. How do we strengthen the basic building block of our society? Families. And one of the ways we do that is to make sure that the kids are prepared to be successful when they walk into kindergarten or first grade or second or third grade. And one of the great things about libraries is they do that. They help us do that. And the other thing I love about libraries, it's like raising a barn in the olden days, and when you had a barn raising in the community and out in the country, and you'd have the folks who were going to own the barn, and then you'd have the neighbors that would come, and they would bring their saws and their hammers and everything and the supplies that were needed to build a library, and they'd build it together. One of the great things about libraries in this state is we don't build them in barns. But we actually, the same spirit's alive. The same spirit is alive. And we bring, each of us, different things that are needed to be able to build these libraries. And this is true as well. We have great support here from the legislature. It's great to see Charlie and others that are here from the legislature and aren't. It's great to be here with Annie and the folks who work in the Division of Libraries and do that work. We got support here from the governor, and we got support from our congressional delegation. We have support from our president. Everybody brings their piece to the task at hand, and we can celebrate it as well. Years from now, 10, 20, 30, 40 years from now, people are going to drive through Selby. Maybe they come back here later on in their lives, and they'll bring their kids or their grandchildren, and they'll say about the library we're about to build here. They'll say, that was my library. That library meant so much to me. And as a result of that, we're going to have kids that are going to get a good education, be ready to be successful when they start off in school, go on and graduate and do things that make them proud and their parents proud and make all of us proud. And it will have started right here to join in a collective of effort. I want to say to everybody that's a part of this, thank you. You are doing the Lord's work, the Lord's work. And someone who's been doing the Lord's work for the last 60 years. we had the greatest birthday celebration for Lisa about a week ago with a big Zoom call, and I got this just to lead everybody in singing "When I'm 64," even though she I didn't. Don't make me older. But we had a huge celebration for Lisa, and Lisa's been crushing it in a very, very good way for all of her life. She is such a joy such a joy to serve with. And I count her friendship and her service as a blessing in my life and a blessing in all of our lives. Our Congresswoman, Lisa Blunt, Rochester. Lisa. Woo!
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. That was a special good morning for our governor. And I say that because, first of all, he mentioned our mentor, Senator Tom Carper, who, as he said, put the band back together and keeps the band going. And we thank him for all of his work. But the governor highlighted everybody else who was instrumental in us being able to aggressively attack a pandemic of proportions we've never seen in our lives. And I want to take a minute for us to thank him for his leadership, for getting us to this place. People are back in restaurants, kids are in schools. This is a beautiful day, and we are here at the Selbyville Library. Isn't this beautiful?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Yes. Okay, so I'm trying to calm down. I'm just trying to bring it down because this is truly a celebration. And so to all of the staff, to all of the board members, the community members, the elected officials, I heard Senator Hocker has the best fried chicken, to everybody who has played a part, we just want to say thank you. It's exciting today to announce this next step forward in our state's path to rebuild from this pandemic. $40 million. $40 million for new libraries, for existing buildings, to make them more accessible, to make them more environmentally friendly. Because we're even talking about solar panels on this new library. So I love that. That's like saving money and saving the planet. It's a twofer. That is incredible. That's what this money goes to as part of the American Rescue Plan. And I have to say, this morning I didn't know what to wear. I even did my hair up in a bun. People don't even know who I am. I just knew it was going to be really windy. And so I was like, wear the combat boots, wear everything for this weather. And now we're inside. But I will tell you, as I thought about it, I thought about, one, what would I wear? I'm wearing red. It was Valentine's Day this week. And I love libraries. I mean, I love libraries. I mean, everybody in here has a story, as the senator said. I remember as a kid, my two sisters and I was the oldest, marching them over to the library after school every day because it was a safe space. And it was a place where we could go and explore the world. I loved libraries. Then I became a mom. And I got to take my kids. I don't know how many moms are in the house. Raise your hand if you're a mom who took your kid to a library. I got to bring my own children to the public library. And then as the Secretary of Labor under then Governor Tom Carper, got a chance to partner with libraries to bring jobs into the library and let people know that they could have access to connecting to the Department of Labor. Again, it's books, it's the world, it's jobs. And even in this current job as your Congresswoman, on the Health Subcommittee, being able to go into libraries where they have telehealth kiosks and people can get COVID shots, and the incredible work that's happening in our libraries is huge. It's huge. But speaking of huge, this place is 5,000 square feet. What you're about to do is 14,000 square feet. We will all be able to socially distance in that room. And so I just wanted to say I am proud to be a supporter of libraries. I am excited about this opportunity. And I also want to share, if you still have your library card, that's a fantastic thing. But don't forget, there's an app called Hoopla. Hoopla. Any librarians in here?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we know about Hoopla. So in case you're at home and you want to do this from home, watch a movie or get some music or a book. The libraries are our future. They are today. Somebody said amen. Did I hear an amen? I heard an amen. They are our today and they are our future. So let's celebrate $40 million for Delaware libraries, the leadership of the governor, the leadership of the General Assembly, the leadership of the entire community, our librarians, and the next leader, I don't know if I'm supposed to introduce her, but I will, because she goes, she posits herself as an introvert, but she is the most, I would say, effective introvert you have ever seen. And she is making sure that we spread the word about the gospel of libraries. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Annie Norman, our state librarian.
Wow, that was awesome. Thank you so much. This is awesome. Well, first I want to thank Kelly Klein and the Selbyville Library Board for hosting us today. And also acknowledge all the library leaders in the room, to all the library board and advisory members, friends of libraries, library directors, and staff. Congratulations for your advocacy and service to Delawareans. Look where it got us. Yay! Thank you. So Governor Carney and Secretary Bullock are library champions. And by the way, where's my boss? My boss is absent. Maybe he's remote. Hi, Jeff. Thank you, Secretary Jeff. First,
Courtney Stewart.
well, that's true. She's on my list too. So they are both Governor and Secretary Bullock are library champions. First, for establishing the statewide Delaware Library Network and Consortium. And that network enables us to broadcast live today from a library, and it would have worked outside too if we did it out in the parking lot, and in a rural area as well. And of course, Courtney is on my list. Also, thank you to library champion Dr. Courtney Stewart. Now, this morning I told her, I was interviewed, and I was asked, so why is it going? Why is this being held in Selbyville? And of course, the first thing I thought of was, well, because it's Dr. Courtney Stewart's library. I didn't say that, but that's what that's really why. But anyway, lots of good reasons to hold it here as well. So we just celebrated the 120th anniversary of library services to Delawareans across generations. Delaware is one of 15 states that support library construction. The Council on Libraries established the goal of 1 square foot per capita of library space statewide. The investment today will help library facilities leap forward a generation toward that goal. Governor Carney's strategic investment in libraries supports equity for communities throughout the state. So we learned earlier, a few years ago, from Selbyville's neighbor, I think that way, the Frankfurt Public Library, how difficult it is to raise the match in low-income areas. And I got lots of emails from legislators about that time. But ARPA, the federal ARPA funds, thank you, can be used to match the state funds. And that helps with equity in the low-income areas, such as Selbyville, Harrington, and the North Wilmington Library area. Senator Carper and Congresswoman Blunt Rochester visited last fall, and they know that on my library bucket list, I'm super excited for all the libraries, but on my library bucket list is the Harrington Public Library, which is still in an old funeral home. And so Harrington will finally be able to proceed on a state-of-the-art facility. And Marlena is here today. Wave, Marlena! Yay! And I also want to thank Kay, because Kay got all these libraries ready. The visit that they had last fall was just in time. Kay was just in time, and Harrington's ready. Yay! So Delaware libraries are shovel-ready to strengthen the social infrastructure for digital equity, literacy, workforce development, and much more. Please join me in a big, thank you, standing ovation for Governor Carney and all our library champions. Thank you.
Hey, yeah, there are refreshments, everybody. Okay.
John, can you come over for just a second, please? I was privileged to be your governor from '93 to 2001. It was a great role. We couldn't be a governor at a better time in the history of our state. Had a Democratic Senate, Republican House, had a great team around me. And with a team this strong, even I looked like I knew what I was doing most days. John Carney's been governor through one of the toughest times in our nation's history, one of the toughest times in our state history. And he has led us with courage, with dignity, and the huge energy. And he's done it in a way of incredible humility as well. And I want to publicly acknowledge and thank him for that. A lot of times the media reports on, we just had breakfast early this morning nearby Starbucks, and we had a member of the press with us. We talked a little bit about the nature and how the press has changed over years. The media tends to focus a little bit more, if you haven't noticed, on negative news, not always on the positives. I just want to close out with a couple of positives. And John has lived this, but as our governor. But Winston Churchill used to say, "When you're going through hell, keep going. When you're going through hell, keep going." He also said that the democracy is the worst form of government devised by wit of man, except for all the rest. This is a tough way to govern. We've gone through hell. We've gone through hell. But here's some good news. The number of, unfortunately, we still have people that are hospitalized, some people whose lives will be lost this day, this week. The numbers are coming down, way down. But if you look at the folks that are testing positive, just in the last month, those numbers are down by well more than half. And we haven't exactly put the pandemic in our rearview mirror, but we're getting there. We're getting there, and the key is when you're going through hell, keep going and figure out what to do that works, and it works. But here's the really good news. Unemployment numbers, we created more in the last year more new jobs in this country than I think maybe any 12-month period in the history of our nation. And that's the efforts and the thanks of a lot of our people. But we're heading back in the right direction, and we can be grateful for all of that. Thank you, John, for your extraordinary leadership, and others in this room that are responsible for that. But this is a day to celebrate. We have one more reason to celebrate. Thank you so much.